friends, and welcome back. I'm Enterprise Architecture, and we are back here playing more Vintagestory. Last episode, we got a bunch more planting done, and we cooked a little bit of food. Now that we have a little bit of food and some tools, I think it's time for us to go on yet another adventure. So today we're going to go back into the wilderness, and I think we're going to go back to that beehive that we found and see if we can't start to get the propagation of that hive. And also I think we should go back to the trader and see if we can't trade in our bronze iron pickaxe for a map. So, with no further ado, let's dive right in. Now before we leave base, I do want to do a couple of things, and that includes making a few more ceramic goods so that we can get those cooking while we are gone for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and make ourselves a couple of ceramic honeypots and a couple of ceramic hives. We can certainly make more as we go, but we will use these to convert the skeps that we're going to be creating once they're filled into a reusable system that we can constantly be filling with honey and then emptying. So let's start with the hive. That's going to be the first part that we need here. And let's go ahead and grab our 2x2 here and just fill this in real fast. So I think I talked about this earlier in the year, but I did actually go to a pottery class for the first time. That was earlier in the year. I think it was in spring that we went, but yeah, it was really fun. Made a couple of cups. The instructor said I did a very good job, so I feel pretty glad about that for my first time throwing on a wheel. And yeah, they turned out good. And so haven't really used them for anything, but yeah, have a pair of very nice cups sitting around here now that I can say that I made myself. All right, let's see here. So that is the hive. We also need the honey pot. This is what's going to go on top. This is what's going to fill with honey, and these we'll be able to pull off and empty and then put back over and over again. So this is a very, very efficient way of us having lots of honey. And with all of these berries we're going to need all of this honey. This is how we're going to make jams and preserves and whatnot. And so, yeah, hopefully we'll have a huge stash of those once this gets going for us. Now, I do believe this is from a mod as well. I don't think this is part of the base game, but again, it's one of the things that I've been doing a lot lately when I have been playing Vintagestory. Just a really convenient way to deal with this rather than over and over again, basically having to go through the skep procedure and making new skeps. So having a reusable one, I think, just saves you a lot of time and a lot of trouble. All right, so we've got 2 so far. I'm going to go ahead and off camera make, let's do 3 more of each. That's going to take a little while, but then we'll have plenty, and we can fire these before we leave the base. Alright, I went ahead and made up a bunch of storage vessels while we were at it, because if I'm going to go ahead and cook things up, this seems like a valuable thing to have, and we certainly are going to go through a lot more storage containers, so may as well use these up. So hopefully that will take care of most of our food storage for the near future. I mean, not all of our food storage, but a decent amount of our food storage. And of course, any leftovers we can use to store various items in as well, because those work great as a replacement for chests without having to forge any iron. And once again, it does look like I am out of grass. So what we can do is actually go back to our main base here and grab up our scythe and put that to use for the first time. We haven't actually used our scythe at all so far. There we go. And now all we have to do is find a nice big bare patch of grass and start cutting. Unfortunately, we are in the woods, so I need to venture a little further afield here. There we go. Now we can actually cut down some grass. That goes real smoothly for us. There. Okay. So let me cut down a whole bunch of our grass. Just gonna mow this down real fast, and then we'll be able to finish up all of the fire pits that we've got here so that we can do our clay cooking. I think that there's the beehive kiln in this as well, which is how we're gonna get some of those white shingles. I don't know if you saw back at our ruin here, the houses all have white shingles on the roofs instead of the red ones. Now, I do want to make some red shingles. I think that would look really good. I do like the look of red shingles, but for the purposes of this for right now, at least making enough that we can match what's already there, I think would be really good and look pretty good. So we might do that in a little bit once we have access to the beehive kiln. Now, of course, the beehive kiln, we're not going to have full access to until we have iron, because I believe that's how you make the door, is with an iron door. So we're still a ways off from that, but that's how we're going to get those fancier looking shingles at some point in the distant future. future. Okay, I think that should be enough grass mowing for now. Just get those last couple of pieces here. There we go. All right, so let's head back down this way and past our peat pit where we've been digging up all of the peat that we're using for these fires. And now we should be able to finish these out real quick. Let's see, one of these did not get all the way filled. I don't remember. There we go, that one. Okay, so slowly but surely, let's see here. Is that everything? I think that's everything. All right. Now, I hope I have enough sticks here. If not, we will have to potentially cut down some more trees for sticks, but I think this is going to be enough. I do believe I also have the mod on here where we can have multiple different types of piles, including stick piles, as well as being able to cut down firewood into sticks, which is really, really, really helpful. All right, we've mined a bunch more peat up. So that's going to take 8 pieces, I think, per one of these. I think that's right. At least the big ones are going to require 8. The small ones, it looks like it's only requiring 4. I guess all of these are pretty big, but for whatever reason, these hive blocks are taking way less than these storage vessels. There we go. Okay, so I believe, whoops. One more. There we go. Okay, that should be all of those. Let's swap out our torch real fast. And now we should be able to light all of these up, and those will get cooking for us. Hopefully everything won't burn down. I really need to do the packed dirt around this. I think that's what you use, packed dirt, to make it so that they don't catch fire. But I have not done that yet. Again, this has been our temporary setup that we made in, what, the 2nd episode? So haven't really gotten around to those sorts of optimizations like don't burn the building down. But yeah, like grass like this is definitely going to catch on fire. So we want to clear as much of that out as possible. It looks like we are also starting to starve. So the next thing I'm going to do is head back to base and get a nice little snack. We're going to eat some of that porridge that we made last episode. And then we will be ready to continue on our adventure and head on south. All right, grabbing up our bowl, let's go ahead and grab some of this porridge here. That's about half full on hunger, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and eat the rest of the porridge and just be completely full, just like that. We did pick over every single berry that we could find on the way here, so let's go ahead and grab up a bunch of our cranberries. I think we'll just do 48 for now. I picked a bunch of dwarf fuse. These flowers were all just hanging out outside for us, ready to be picked, so I grabbed all of those up. And now we have more than enough flowers, I think, to help that skep propagate really, really fast. Now we do need to remind ourselves, how do we make a skep exactly? I think the empty reed skep is what we want. So yeah, we are gonna need 16 cattails and 2 fire clay. Let's look how we're doing on our cattails. Looks like we have plenty. In fact, we have extra, which is great. And well, I think we can use regular clay if we don't have fire clay, right? It should just be any type of clay. So there we go, 1 empty reed skep. Now it does mean that we are going to have to trade out one of our hand baskets. So the question is, which one is it going to be? I think it's going to be that one. We're going to put that back into our inventory momentarily, but I think the skep, oh, it's empty, right? So we don't even have to put it into there. It's only when it's full that we are going to have to leave a slot for it. So this should be fine for now. We also want to grab our tin bronze pickaxe that we made. Again, it's unused. We're not going to use it on this adventure. We're not going mining. We are going to trade this in for a map. And I think with that and the chest that we have on our back, which I think is still on our back. Oh, we can't access it until we take off our torch. There we go. So we still have an empty chest that we can then fill up with a variety of ingredients. So today's route is going to take us over the tree bridge here that we built, over the tree bridge here that we built, and we are going to go all the way down to this treasure hunter trader. And then after that, we are going to wander through the wilderness here down to these bees in this beehive. We're also going to go and dig up all of these ruins that we found and see if we can't find anything interesting in there. There might be something. That also looks like it might be a ruin. That might just be some andesite gravel, but maybe we'll do a long loop around here and see what we can find going past that trader. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So We're gonna make our way over this way, past all of our fields that we planted last episode. Look at all of these berries we're gonna have. We are not gonna have to worry about food for a while, I think. And with these bees that we're gonna be gathering, we should be able to make honey and jam and all sorts of good stuff. So this time while we're out adventuring, we are gonna pick up any and all little bits of copper that we find along the way. I think that's gonna be valuable for us to have. And we also are going to want to pick up any additional like extra sticks and things like that. I think we are starting to run out of sticks. So for instance, all of this tin, I do have room this time. We're gonna pick that up. We are gonna pick up all of this copper here. We are gonna mark that this is peat here as well. That's gonna be useful for us. Just because we are nearly out of copper at this point. We are gonna have to make some more bronze up. Oh, here's a bunch. This is wonderful. I guarantee you there's probably like a node right down here of copper. Nope, not right underneath here, unfortunately. Maybe right underneath here? Yeah, there you go. See, anytime you see that much surface copper, you know you're going to be finding like a whole bunch that you can just mine up really easily. Okay, great. So we know that that's there, but we will come back to that at some point in the future when we have another tin bronze pickaxe. Alright, there's the trader just over the hill here that we had seen earlier. And again, grabbing up all of these nuggets as we go. Just past the trader is where I built the next little bridge over. Let's see here. Anything interesting around here? Let's see here. A large globe. I haven't seen that. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Let's see. Do you have anything more interesting now? Brown glass, small carpets, silver diadem. Yeah, none of this is actually useful for me. Although, you know, having shields to hang up on the walls would be good. All right. Now, in my last playthrough, those of you who watched the previous series, we did find an amazing, just epic ruin from the Better Ruins mod towards the end, and found some really incredible looking gear. Not valuable or useful gear, but, you know, really good looking gear. So that was really a nice find. I think for decorative purposes, it would be great to find another one of those, but I don't expect we will get that lucky anytime in the near future here. All right, so the trader is just over here. He's just edging through these woods to see if I could find anything of note or interest. You should give me something important here. Know of any interesting places? Tin bronze pickaxe. Wait, why didn't you let me trade you a tin bronze pickaxe? How do I do that? Do I do that this way? Hi friends, future me jumping in here. I eventually figured out what was going on. I believe you can only turn in the pickaxe if you've created it after you've accepted the quest. So for whatever reason before it didn't accept the quest, so I think that's the issue here. Anyway, I jumped into creative mode and just gave myself a pickaxe and handed it to him, and he accepted it for whatever reason. So hey, free bonus pickaxe is what we ended up with there because we cheat a little bit, but that did end up giving us the quest completion, and that means that we did get the map location. So that's going to show up on our map after this bit. But I just want to explain what happened, what went on, and what I had to do to get it fixed. Alright, we're back here at our ruin, where we found a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, let's go ahead and leave the quartz on the ground. There's a lot of quartz around here, and we don't actually need it. But we do want to go back over here to our bees, where I hear you. And I remember it was a little hard to see you last time. Ah, there you are. Okay, so we're going to come right underneath the bees here. And we're just going to trim away all of these extra branches on the bottom because those are going to get in the way of where I want to place down all of my lovely flowers. So all of you, ooh, okay, that's dangerous sounding. Let's go ahead and put our skep right here. Okay, so there's our empty skep. Now all we have to do is start throwing down a boatload of flowers, and that will increase the speed at which this propagates, or at least it does when we are actually doing it with real filled skeps that we've actually placed elsewhere. I don't know that this will always work with wild skeps, but I think that it's supposed to do, wild hives. I think it's supposed to work still where it does it based on how many flowers it can find around it. So I'm just gonna throw down a whole bunch of these. I think that's gonna be a decent number. It says right there, nearby flowers 34, so not nearly enough. If we place down 100, we should get the maximum here. So we're just gonna go absolutely wild with it, all the way up to the edge of this ruin, basically. And hopefully it'll give us credit for all of those. Okay, so that should have been 64. Oh, it's still only saying 34, so I think that's gonna be the maximum we'll be able to get away with here. Okay, that's fine. But we do have this ruin still to dig out. So I'm going to go around and dig out all of this ruin and the adjacent ruin. There's a lot of ruins in this little section here. And we'll see what we find once we've dug all of this out. I suspect that these will probably be empty. Most of the ones I've found so far are just vanilla ruins that don't have much in it. So we're just going to, be content with whatever we find. Okay, well, we found nothing, but the skep is now saying, the hive is now saying that it's got 86 nearby flowers and the population is large. So this should propagate to the skep in a little while. We are just going to go adventuring nearby for a little bit, and if we're really lucky, that will propagate here within the next 24 hours. So we'll see if that many flowers is enough. Hopefully that will be, and yeah, maybe we'll find something interesting along the way. Still wandering around, but you don't see that too often, where you've got copper and tin and quartz all in one place. This would be a amazing place to come back and do some mining, but that is not the goal for today, so we're just gonna have to bookmark it and move on. Well, it was only a matter of time before we encountered our first enemies, and here we are. What are these? The bowtorns? Yeah. These are awfully nasty and ugly creatures that we are not going to tussle with. We are playing on peaceful mode, so at this point, they will not attack us, which is good. I could use some respite from all the battling, honestly. But it does mean that we're going to have to come back and maybe fight some things in the future. Certainly when we get to the Resonance Archive, that's not going to be an option for us, is to just go passively. So hopefully we can find some good gear before we get to that point, though, or definitely build some. Now this is important. We finally found ourselves some borax for the first time. I was hoping we'd eventually encounter some. We are going to need that for our steel production in the future. So we're just going to go ahead and mark this. I'm going to grab up whatever I can find lying around on the surface here. Now that we are in this shale biome, I think it's going to be good for us to have. But I don't expect we are going to find enough just by, tooling around on the surface here to actually do everything that we're going to need to do. So we are just going to have to keep an eye open for whether or not we can find some deeper down at a future time. All right, so that's good. A little bit of borax. It's certainly a starting point. We will need to grind that. I do think we are getting pretty close to the point now. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Pretty close to the point now where we are going to need to make a quern so we can start grinding stuff down. But the one thing I'm really missing at this point is limestone. I still haven't found any limestone, and until I do, we are going to be at a significant disadvantage, because that's how we're going to get started in a bunch of our leather working and all of that other good stuff. So I did just find our first brown coal. I did not find any black coal yet, so this is not actually that helpful for us, but it is here in this weird cave that I just found. So good to know. We're going to mark it on the map, but for our long-term purposes, we still need to find black coal. This is not going to get us hot enough to do what we need to do. All right, we spent all night hunting around out here, and we have a farming vessel that we just found, which is ordinarily that would be great, but it's pretty much useless now because we don't need cattails. Oh, but we got cabbage seeds. If you'll remember, I was saying earlier, cabbages are one of the crops I would most like to grow. They are very, very healthy, and in real life, absolutely actually love cabbage. I think it's fantastic, and you can do a lot of interesting things with it. You can fry it, you can cook it. It's really wonderful. But we did find our cabbage seeds, and that means that we are making progress on our goals. That's one more thing we can check off here. I don't see anything else in this little weird store cache, so I'm going to assume that I just got that little bit of bony soil, and that's going to be all that there is here. I'm not seeing anything else worthwhile in that ruin, but that is a big find for us. Okay, and a lot of tin over here. We will mark it. Did just find a patch of lupine as well, and we have red lupine here, which we do not have back at base. I found a bunch of blue lupine, but red I think would be a nice addition to what we've got going there. Oh, this is blue lupine, not purple lupine, so that actually does improve things as well. Maybe let's just go ahead and throw these on the ground real quick here, and let's clear ourselves a little bit of room. And hopefully now we can put down our chest. Oh no, that's bad. I forgot that the torch would go out the second that we throw it down. Oh, that's going to be a problem for us, but nothing we can't overcome at this point. I'm also seeing that I accidentally ended up picking up a lot of quartz that I thought was actually borax. So once I started doing that, I just kind of gave up and just kept picking it up because it's not a big deal once we've already got it. So we're going to keep grabbing that as we go. Let's get that little bit of lupine that we started to pick up here. And now I think we are just about ready to head back and go ahead and grab up those skeps. I'm not going to go and pick up all of these because we'll be able to grow this really easily once we actually start doing some serious farming of flowers. So let's just grab that, an unlucky 13, and now we're going to head back to our bee skep. Well, it's been about a day, but the skep still hasn't populated. Sometimes this takes more than a day, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 or 4 days even. So I think what I'm going to do is run back to base and drop off all of our ingredients, and we'll come back to this at a future point. Well, friends, we are once again about out of time, unfortunately. That skep hasn't populated, so we're just going to leave it be for now, no pun intended, and we will check in again on it in a future episode. But for now, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.